All right, I'm back.
Okay. I need the first sip review. So we've
Okay. Ooh,
transformed. This is part two of this episode. We're
I should have brought like a
transforming.
stir.
I don't know.
Sorry.
You just swish it.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you're gonna like add it to the glass. Oh, it's so pretty. It's pretty.
It is kind of pretty. It's
It's
like
like a
an
stormy
ombre
day.
effect. Yeah.
Is this the most
Okay.
drunk we've ever?
I feel like something weird is happening right now. Okay. Doesn't smell horrible. It's a lot
Better.
better.
Okay.
It's a lot better.
So tell us what you
Okay.
put in it to make it amazing.
I wouldn't say amazing. I'd say
Okay.
better.
Better. To start.
Um, So I added almond milk eggnog. I guess it's not eggnog, but it's like it's called
Oh,
holiday nog.
we
It's
like it.
made with
Yep.
almond milk. So basically like a creamer, I
Yeah.
think, is what I've
Yeah.
added to this.
So good. To the coffee espresso martinis that we are drinking that neither one of us have ever had before. And this might be the one and only
And
time.
I probably will not have again, to be honest.
I have to say, I really like this.
I'm
Um,
delighted.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I will serve this. I'm having a party maybe on Friday if the snowstorm doesn't like cancel everything.
Ooh.
Maybe I'll do this and stay awake for longer than 9:30 because that's usually when I'm in bed.
You know what? It might be fun to like have a challenge of like turning, like maybe I'll make my own
Hmm.
espresso martini and
Yeah.
like doctor it to try and make it delicious. That could be a fun challenge.
I like it. I'd be up for recording an episode over homemade drinks.
Yeah, we'll see how we're feeling tomorrow after
Mhm.
we've stayed up until like
Mhm.
3 a.m. Okay, so
Clearing the
back
scene.
to, yes, clearing the scene. Um, so yeah, I think Facebook ads was one of the things that a lot of people go into business, or at least like coaching business, with
Mhm.
that in mind, that
Yeah.
they should tackle that initially as a way to generate leads.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of other creative ways and maybe more authentic ways that you can generate leads. Starting with like if you're just starting out, I would think of it less as like generating leads and more as just helping the people around you and
Yeah.
finding ways to help the people who already are in your orbit.
Oh my gosh. So true. So good. And I mean, I use the terminology like generate leads because I'm in like a business context. But like when I think
Of
about it, I'm just
course.
like, it's so cold. It's like
Yeah.
generating leads. Ugh. Like,
Hmm.
are we growing people right now? Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, and
So
people are
I,
not leads as well. Like, I know this is just terminology, and I think it's like if
it's
you're in a
fine.
context where
Yeah.
that is the terminology, that's totally fine. But I think most new coaches are not like, I want to build like a robot empire where I
Mhm.
am. I think they're like, I want to go out and help people.
Yeah.
So you're just
Yeah.
gathering people to offer help too.
Absolutely. And I think that sometimes that terminology, like I live with a person who was a sales engineer who is like very closely working to grow a startup right now. And I do think like actually that terminology can be really helpful when you are trying to depersonalize it because you're talking to so many people, you're experiencing so much rejection. Like it's
Right,
kind of better to think of people as leads because it's not personal at that point.
right,
But
right.
in such a like an intimate service-based business, which I think coaching is, I do like the word nurture. I like nurturing people.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, if I think about like what has worked really well in my business is like launching something.
Hmm.
Very often, the thing I'm launching is not the thing that is like bringing in all the money. But when I'm
Hmm.
in a launching mode, like when I'm trying to, it's so crazy. Like when I'm trying to think about how am I going to sell my $20 to $30 book, that puts me in like an energy and in a stream where I become more strategic. I think, like, what does someone need? How much does someone need to trust me to take a chance on not only buying it, but like taking the time to listen to the audiobook or read the book? Like, that is valuable energy that people are spending. And I just
Hmm.
kind of work backwards in my marketing and think about, what does someone need from me to say it is safe to spend my time and energy listening to this, to reading this? I say this as a person who has, oh my gosh, we did this categorization of our library recently. I think I have like 700 books
Wow.
in my home. And I haven't, that does not include all of the children's books, which we have two separate bookshelves full of children's books. Like, at
Wow.
one point I was like, I just stop counting right now because this is a little bit much. But I haven't read all of those books. You know,
Hmm.
I buy books because I like the idea, but then what actually gets me as a reader to say, this is the book that I'm going to spend my time with and spend my energy with. This is what I'm taking to bed with me. I'm going to
Hmm.
listen to while I'm puttering around the house. That, I think, is a more helpful like marketing question than, how am I going to make $300,000 this year?
Yeah, a
That's
hundred
so
percent.
divorced from like the person that you are going to help, the next person
It's
you're going to help.
also, yes, it's divorced from the purpose, or it's the person you're going to help, because it's like entirely focused on what you're going to get from the relationship, which
Mm-hmm.
I think it's awesome to like set goals in that mindset. Like, of course, you want to think on behalf of yourself and what you want and what you want to build when you're setting goals for your business or for
Yep.
yourself. And when you're thinking of marketing, it's so much more powerful to think of, how do I take care of the other person
Mm-hmm.
in this dynamic? How
Yep.
do I like build that connection, build that trust? And I love your framing of how do I create safety basically for, like, how do I create a dynamic or a situation or content whereby the client feels safe to come to
Mm-hmm.
me for help with what they need? I love that because it's not, it makes rejection not personal, also not final
Yeah.
necessarily.
Yep.
So if a person is not buying from you, it's not that they're like, they hate you or you're insufficient. It's just that you haven't solved the problem yet of how to create an abundance of safety whereby they can either can like further the relationship with you in some way, be delighted in where the relationship is like forever and just decide they're never going to buy from you, or bounce.
Yeah. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think that if I like think back to early business owner days, just even talking to some people this week, this year, and this
Oh
year,
boy.
this week, who are like starting kind of the branch of their business that they're working on. It's like, yeah, rejection is a big fear. And I think it's why it's so much easier to like focus on the perfect marketing plan instead of just talking to people.
Yeah.
But if I can offer some like old lady wisdom for
Ripe
newer
old lady
coaches, like,
wisdom at
I
the
mean, in
age
this
of
industry, we're
40
like
something.
seasoned, we're elders of the,
Sure. We're
we've been
elders.
around
Amazing.
since before 2020. But like, I have done the sales trainings that are more about like psychological sales and fast action activation and all that stuff. And I've had problems in those client relationships in the past.
Mm. Hmm.
The two things that really helped me in regards to like having conversations about like, should I work with this person, is like, there's nothing I can do or not do that's going to bring this person closer if they're not the right person.
That's
And
really powerful.
I only want people who are like at a really high level of readiness for the depth we're going to go.
Hmm.
I have had clients in the past where every week was kind of spent in their coaching, like convincing them that they could do it, convincing that it was convincing. It was not, it was like, I'm like, all right, we're getting the cheering squad. We're making sure like Yes,
Yep.
this is a real business. 100% you're smart enough. Yet, like, it was really a lot more validating and cheerleading than going deep into, okay, what's the obstacle? Is it a mindset obstacle? Is it an external obstacle? What's the strategy? What's the processing? I now have like no attachment when I talk to somebody. If I've never met them before, we talk and I never hear from them again. It's not that I don't wonder or think about them. I'm like, I hope the best for them, but I'm just like, that was not my person, or this was not their time.
Hmm.
And that just frees up my like mental energy to like, and if I'm just like, oh, I really could have helped them and I think I didn't articulate that well, then it's like, okay, so I'll go articulate what I should have said on a blog post, in a podcast. I'll
Yeah.
go offer a
Hmm.
resource and I'll send it to them. I have had clients come back after that.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think I'm also not opposed to if there are a lot of conditions for this, but if I feel like, oh, there's something major that I left out, or I didn't like, if I see there's a chance to help them that I wasn't able to articulate at the time,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to reaching out to them and just offering with a sense of detachment, not with like a like desperate
Yes.
energy, but I think it's fine to be like, because I people are imperfect, and I think clients are like when coaches model what it looks like to
Yeah.
have integrity and also be imperfect humans.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people all the time, like, if I can have a really successful business and not be a good salesperson, I'm great at selling other people's stuff. Like, if you ask me about products I love, you will buy them. I have a friend who's like, talking to you is very expensive. Because I'm like, you should buy this $4,000 massage chair. You should buy this $500 ring. I can sell people's stuff. But when it comes to myself, I'm like, I am maybe intentionally like just try to be removed. And it's something I'm always working on because I never liked, I just don't like the pushy sales stuff.
Hmm.
But I'm like, I think about the difference between buying, we have a really nice car. It's like a luxury brand car. And that sales experience was so different from when I like had a $16,000 car.
Oh, really?
Very different. Like they were not bothering us. They were not like calling us three
Ah,
times a day. They were just like, this is an incredible car. We have this car and one other car. And if you want it, something outside of that, it'll be 6 months wait. Like there was like no tension at all. And I bought that car after 5 minutes of test driving it.
wow. Yeah, see, I don't think that's a problem. Like,
Yeah.
wait, also, I take issue with the idea that sales is inherently pushy.
Right. And hounding
I don't think
people.
that's true. Yeah, I don't think that has to be true. I think in a lot of people's minds that's true. But I also think that's a lot of what stops newer coaches from doing like the core work that Corinne was
Mm-hmm.
talking about at the beginning of the call of just like helping people and making
Yes.
offers.
Yeah.
I think that like there's a lot of power. I found my I don't even, I hate like talking about these business terms because really it's just like the amount of people I was able to help,
Yeah.
but my quote unquote like conversion rate
Yes.
from consults went way up when I just
Mhm.
stopped trying to like
Yes.
convince anyone of anything, when I was just focused on reminding myself of what my lane was and what I could help with, and coming to calls with a pure heart of like,
Mhm.
can I help this person? And if so, how? And being very honest in that space. And
And
that
I
was
want to
like, I
brag
think
about you for
way
a
less
second.
salesy. Oh, yes.
Yes. I'm
Okay.
going to brag about you
Ooh.
for a second
All
because
right.
I've seen you in action. I've watched you coach lots of people about lots of things. And the thing is, what most people don't like, people get really in their heads about like the sales and the marketing and the da 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 da. I'm like, listen, the people who are coming to you actually really need you. Like, I wonder
Yeah.
what would be different if coaches didn't get on sales calls and think, oh, I really hope this person signs up with me. But instead
Hmm.
was like, all right, let's go. I'm gonna help this person with my pure heart. Like I have
Yeah.
watched you basically collect fans not because you were like, I need fans, but because you were like, let me show you what I've got. And not from a egotistical place, but just from like, this person needs me to be fully present with them. And most humans never get that experience.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. I think that is from a personal like from my own psychological experience, that's the thing that has helped me by far the most show up to consults without like weird energy and show up to coaching calls even that I may have felt a little intimidated by or scared of and like actually help people is just grounding myself in can I help like how can I help this person?
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Yeah.
It takes all of the pressure off of like performing or like grasping. And also, I like how it gives me the freedom to not put my shit on the client and not be like, oh, I need to sell to this person because
Yeah.
I have rent due, which
Or
is
my rent,
true,
my mortgage,
maybe.
my car
Yeah,
payment.
right. Like
Yes.
I'm human. I have concerns about money as much
Sure.
as anyone else, but it just feels so icky to
Right?
think about mixing that with helping people. So like
Yeah.
my entire goal with consults is just what do you want to create? Like how can I help you? Can I help you? Am I the right person for you? And helping them figure that out in the time that we have together.
Yeah. And you are such a master at doing that, like with just such a clean focus
Thank you.
that I think a lot of people forget that like this is where I think it gets muddy for people. It's like the business there I think there are different hats. Like when you are in the business building space, this is an opinion, but I have found it really helpful to have days that are about business building and marketing and writing and creation, and then days that are really just where I'm in my coaching. My coaching hat is on. It's a pointy witch hat, and we're doing magic with clients.
Wait, is it a literal? Do you have a
I do
pointy
have
witch
a
hat
pointy
that
witch
you
hat,
wear
but I
when you're
don't
in
wear
coach
it.
mode?
I did
Okay,
get a
but like
request to wear
mentally
my Wicked sweatshirt after I
in spirit.
wore it on this podcast. One of my clients was like, "Can you please wear that for the next one? I don't want to tell you what to wear, but can you wear it?" I was like, "Yes, I can."
Amazing. I love that.
But like I think about like that's the magic, and I don't want to bring my own needs or goals or desires into someone else's space where it's supposed to be about their needs and their goals and their desires. And
Hmm.
so I as much as I can, I do try to keep those days like mentally and emotionally very separate. And then it makes the like business building days really fun because then I'm like, ooh, it's creative, it's fun. Like I can think about the sessions I've had. They're usually closer to the end of the week, but I can think about the sessions I've had and I'm like, what would be a resource that like this person needs? What would be a really helpful class I could teach and invite my clients to, but then maybe open it up to other people? For like one example is like for a couple of years, I have done these end of year like reviews and VIP like yearly planning things for clients. And I was like, I can do that for other people too. They don't have to work with me for a year to like get a good plan and feel really excited about what they do. I can offer
Hmm.
that as like a thing. And it's just like so fun because whether that works or that doesn't work from year to year, some years they've sold out immediately. This year I've sold a couple and we'll see if anybody else picks it up before the end of the year. Um, but it's like that's like the creative fun stuff that I get to test and play with that it takes nothing away from the energy that I need for the client work.
Hmm.
It doesn't
Yeah.
need to be successful for it to be like a worthy experiment.
Right, because it sounds like everything that you're undertaking is a way of helping the people that you want to help, whether it's like
Trying our
directly
best.
or
Yeah.
indirectly.
Yeah.
But
And
that's
some,
always a powerful endeavor. Even if it fails,
yeah.
you're learning how to help your people more. And I think I'm gonna amend what I was saying at the beginning of the call slightly from like just like talk to people to be obsessed with the question of how to help
Mm-hmm.
people in your area of expertise, and that will never lead you astray.
Oh
And
my
if
gosh.
that calls you to do Facebook ads, like so be it. If it calls you to build a website, like so be it. But I think probably more often it's going to lead you to more direct impact stuff. And then you'll know when it's time to expand and like strategize in those other ways.
Yeah. And I mean, I think there's also just this weird mindset that a lot of people have that I definitely have shared. I'm not free of this by any means, but like it couldn't be that easy. Like I think we
Mm.
just expect that it's got to be like a 10-step funnel with like this much money invested and this shiny thing and all of this stuff. But it's like you could just have one of my friends just had a party, showcased some stuff that she'd been working on, invited like 300 people, and her business was born.
Wow. Hmm.
You could just, if you're a coach, offer a, you know, if you're a coach and your big dream is to like teach retreats in Costa Rica, which I would love to come to.
Me
have
too.
have people come
We'll
over to your
bring
house for an
espresso
afternoon.
martinis.
Offer a free half day session for some of your close friends and say, if you loved this, I would love a testimonial. I would love something that I could use for my marketing. If you know people who would benefit from the work that we did today, I would love to be able to talk to them. Like generosity, I think, is one of the best marketing and sales plans. Not that it has to be free, does not have to be free, but like you can offer, like we are offering some insights over our beverages. And, you know, maybe something will turn into something for one of us, both of us.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe.
it'll inspire another coach to say, I don't have to have a pretty polished podcast to just announce my message to the world. Because these two
Yeah.
got drunk on a
These two
Wednesday.
fools show up
And that
as
was
fools every
helpful.
week. Yeah. Yeah. I will say, when I was thinking of alternatives to like, I think some of the business rules, which not every business coach is like, you should have Facebook ads, but like, I think there is, in my mind, that was a like
Oh,
rule that
100%.
I had in the back of my head that like, oh, I should be doing that or I should be thinking about doing that. Um, But one of the most effective things that I've done is offer pay what you can packages
So good.
for time.
Yeah.
And like I did that because I was like, I want to be coaching more. I'm not really wanting to sell a lot more. At the time, I had very limited bandwidth to like market and to even post on Instagram. But I did have energy to coach people.
Mhm.
So also, there was a lot of and is a lot of stuff going on in the world. And I was like, not everyone has access to coaching. And I think that's awful. And I want the world to be more influenced by people who don't have financial resources to pay for
Yeah.
coaching. So I came in with that perspective, offered them, and like got some clients out of it, some
Yeah.
like regularly priced clients. And not all of them did. And I feel amazing about everyone that I coached with. But I think I think that's like just one example in the corner of if you do something, anything
Mhm.
that is in the direction of connecting with people
Mhm.
and offering them help however you can, you will be building more than if you are waiting for the right path or like
Yeah.
refining your language on your website. If
Yeah.
you're doing like these things that take a lot of energy and mentally and emotionally sometimes, but aren't directly related to
Yeah.
helping people.
Yeah. Don't be fooled by thinking that because you're spinning on it, it's the same as doing actual helpful work. That could
Right.
be really helpful for people too, is like, is this work that did my work today help somebody? Like, what a great question.
Mm.
Because working
Hmm.
on your website before and like refusing to publish it after 4 months did not help anyone.
Yep.
Publishing
That
it
is I love that question as like a
did
guiding. That's
I help someone?
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that as a way, especially at the beginning, when you're bigger, maybe that will change, but whatever. I
No, when
still
you're bigger,
think,
you're doing that because that's the machine you've built and that's why you're bigger.
right, right. Yeah. And that's one thing I admire from Corinne, actually. And I've like seen her walk the walk around. She's always doing things to help people. Like
Yep.
from my perspective, it seems like she's enormously generous with
Yeah.
her brain power and her content.
Yeah.
And I think that's why she's so successful
Yeah.
and why she creates so much as well.
Yeah, because her clients know that she really cares about them and she's really thinking about them. And it's not, yeah, it just comes across as so genuine because I think it is.
Yeah.
I don't know the inner workings of her business. I'm not going to speak for her, but like
hmm
it
I think we
feels
can speak
like,
for the people in her
yes,
orbit
the
who, like,
people who
I
we know,
personally
yes.
benefited and found what she creates helpful and how she shows up helpful as well. Even just like her submitting this question was like
I
a
know
very
she didn't need to
generous
do that for
thing.
us.
No,
She has millions of listeners on her podcast. She doesn't need
yeah,
us to talk
yeah,
about her.
absolutely.
But like
Um,
that is just such a good example of exactly that. Someone who
mhm,
is in the world giving generously, not doing it for personal gain, does not is probably never going to hear this. But like now we've just talked about her several times and someone who's listening to this is going to go find her. And
mhm,
that might be exactly the person that they need.
yeah.
Or you might be the person they need. Can you tell us how to find you?
Are you? Ooh,
Look at
that
that
was such a good
segue. Ooh,
transition. Oh
I
my
told you I could
goodness.
sell things.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Elena McKernan, or on my website at no, coachingwithelena.com.
Amazing.
Um, I also something that I have not posted or like written
Ooh,
about, but that I'm excited to offer is support for coaches who are like wanting just help with their coaching. So if you're interested in anything like that, just like email me.
yes. Oh my gosh. And I
Yes.
cannot recommend that enough because you, like, I know you've talked about in the past, like, oh, I was so analytical about my coaching and I would like really rehash things. But I'm like, the positive of that is you actually are so attentive and present for people who maybe are trying to figure out like why do I have no issue if you have an issue like signing clients but then they never renew or they never really feel like they got everything that they could that you think they could have from the coaching, that would be like a really great reason to reach out to Elena.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if you feel like you're going to sessions and like some of what your clients are needing is like stumping you, or
Mm-hmm.
you're questioning a lot of like how you show up. I love like raising the standard of coaching just across the board. And I also love supporting coaches through the process of evaluating their own coaching because I know that can be a very vulnerable and
Yeah.
scary thing, especially if you have a brain that's like sometimes mean to you.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially if you're trying to also do it while you're building a business and figuring all of that out. Like just
Yeah, it's
do
a lot.
yourself a favor and get support for that.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. How about you? How can people get your brilliance in a more personal way?
Okay, so in an in-personal way, the book, Be Super,
Hmm.
so Super
That's
Bound.
personal.
Yeah, that's
Those are
very
your
personal. I
words.
I tell some very personal. If you like our personal shares here on the podcast, the Super Bound book that I wrote with Steve is a great way, and I do work with business owners at besuperabound.com. You can always set up a discovery, and we can talk about your situation and what you need, and happy to help.
And I just want to shout out that, like, I think what's remarkable about the coaching that you offer, it's a blend of, I feel like this is, see, I don't feel like I'm being salesy, but I think another person might
Please sell
interpret
for
this as
me. No,
salesy.
I'm here. I'm
But
listening.
I think it is rare to find someone who has so much like emotional presence and groundedness and openness and curiosity, but also has like some pretty stellar opinions about like like tactical
Yes.
work. So
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful combination for newer coaches who are like, what do I do? How do I build a business? I'm told that I'm supposed to like listen to myself, but also I have no clients and I don't know
Mhm.
how to make myself have clients. I think those are some things that you are very equipped. I know that's not necessarily
Yeah,
like
no,
all of your target
it's a
audience,
big,
but
but it is a big deal. Like I think having someone who's gonna like be strategic with you, but like through always through the lens of like your vision and values, which is like what I think is
yes.
sometimes missing from the business world. It's like, who cares about your values? Who cares about your vision? Let's just make some money. Do it.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
you also
it's
must
nicer
do
to do
it
it
by
the other way.
becoming an extrovert and going to lots of networking events, even if you want to stab yourself when you're at them.
Yeah.
That is not going to ever come out of Erin's mouth. I can say with full confidence. Unless you're into
Yeah, if
it.
you really want to, I will support you.
Yes.
But
I
it's not
love how I was
necessary.
like, for this episode, I was like, I don't know if we're going to have
I
enough to talk
know.
about. This is going to be a minute episode. And here we are, it's going over an hour, which
Brought
we'll
to you
probably split into
by
2 episodes.
Espresso Martinis.
Oh, you finished.
I did.
So mine looks fuller than it did, but that's only because I poured the rest of it in.
Oh, you
So
did.
I actually like it now. It's
Okay.
good.
Well, there you
Maybe
go.
like
I
80%
knew you would turn a
eggnog
corner.
though. Yeah,
You can
it
also
was
pour
the
it down the
eggnog.
drain after you're done.
I may do that. We'll see. I'll
Okay,
report
well, I'll
back.
text you at 3 in the morning.
Yeah. See you then. Talk to you then.
Thanks everybody for listening. Have a great
Yes.
week.
Yes. Bye.